Reconnected Voice Journey Podcast. Your voice is your medicine. Welcome to the Reconnected Voice Journey Podcast with me, your host, Francesca J. Littman. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the voice in its many different forms, from how we express ourselves in the world through our speaking voice and singing voice, to the stories and words we tell ourselves and others, to the voice of our intuition, the voice of nature, the voice of divine guidance, and so much more. The intention of this podcast is to offer you inspiration and hope as you embark on your own unique journey to reclaim all aspects of your voice and to build trust in the immense power that already lies within you. As we travel on this journey together, I'll be talking with inspirational guest speakers, as well as sharing my personal stories and experiences on the path of my own journey of reconnection with my voice, plus some useful tips I've picked up along the way. I'm really excited to welcome to today's show my friend Tamar Gail, who is a teacher, coach, spiritual guide, and shamanic priestess with 24 years experience in women's health, holistic healing, wellness, shamanic traditions, and natural birth. Tamar has been holding ceremonies and leading workshops and retreats internationally since 2016. We connected, I think it was probably the end of 2017, or could have been 2018 beginning. And I just absolutely loved her work. And it was very much a sort of introduction for me, or deepening into the divine feminine that had been a little bit on my path. But my understanding really started to come when I came across Tamar's work. And yeah, we've been connecting ever since that time. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I do remember that. I do remember meeting you and having you there. And it's been such a pleasure getting to know you and knowing you all these years. And I know right when I was living in Europe at that time, you and I, right before I moved, we were planning a retreat in the south of France. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and because of what I was going through at the moment, moving, it didn't work out, but oh, it was going to be such a beautiful retreat. And one day maybe we can go back and we can do that retreat somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something at some point it will come. But yeah, it was funny, wasn't it, actually, because it was right at that time we were sort of planning everything, we were getting ready to put it out, and then just this series of stuff happened. It's when I had a pregnancy, which I wasn't planning. So I was kind of
Yeah.
intending to it would have been like right around then that I would have been giving birth. Then I
Yeah.
ended up having a miscarriage, and then stuff all kind of shook up in your world. And then there was also Annie Williams, who was going to be hosting like one of the days, taking us around Rennes-le-Bain. She ended up breaking her femur. So it's just like, it just wasn't meant to happen right
It
then.
was not the time. It was definitely
But it
not.
was so much fun planning it. And yeah, one of these days, one of these days we will bring our work together. So
We will. We will. And I love what you're doing and what you're creating. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
yeah, I'm excited to have you here too. And also because I think there've been so many like crossovers in our sort of stories over the last years. It's
Oh yeah.
really, really fascinating. Like, because yeah, your relationship kind of broke up, and then you moved countries, and then similar thing happened to me like later on that year. And just, I don't know, there's so many things we kind of like see all these what do you call it, like overlapping themes and
Hmm.
stuff. So that's really, for me, like, it's always really comforting to know that there are other women like on this journey going through similar things. And I think we draw so much strength from one another when we share those experiences, and we can talk really openly and honestly and authentically and just really say it like it is. It makes so much difference, right?
It does. And we really need this. We need to sit, and whether it's a circle or just like have that communication with each other and be able to share and be able to be heard and have who we are and our experiences received. We really need that as women. And I think the first I've always been lucky and I've had really amazing women friends my whole life. But I think that my first big experience with that was in my shamanic training and having to sit in circle and like sacred circle with a group of women for sometimes a week. and
Mm.
how intense that can be, but how healing that can be, and how needed that is. And at the same time, how lost, like we don't have, I think it's coming back in our society. We're seeing more and more women's circles. We're seeing those things have been coming back for I don't know how long. I mean, I was in France and I was coming back and leading workshops here and trying to pull that together. And even at that time, that wasn't a thing. But now I see it's everywhere. And I'm really happy to see that because we need that. We need that as women.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And it's one of the reasons I set up this women's singing circle recently. It's like because yeah, I've been feeling that call for so long to have like to guide women's circles and also to sit in them with others myself. But it's like, okay, really, what can I bring? And I realized like the voice, that space where we really feel safe to share the voice, and also the way that and particularly for the area that I'm living in, just that makes it more accessible for some people as well. Because I think sometimes, women's circles like, oh, okay, what's that? But when you add like the singing bit, it's like, oh, okay, well, I can relate to that. So maybe this is worth trying out. And it's, yeah, it's interesting. Someone was telling me the other day, I think one of the big trends at the moment in, the things that are really growing, like, and from a business perspective as well, it's like women's circles.
Mhm.
And there is very good reason for that, for
There
sure.
is,
For sure.
there is. And I think when I was trying to put together a women's circle, like I was, well, I'm Scorpio, so like everything that I'm bringing is quite deep and like quite mystical and esoteric and out there. So it was like, oh, like let's work with our cycles and the cycles of the earth and like cycles of the moon and like bring it all together and like work through our shadows. And there wasn't a lot of women around me at that time where I lived that were open to that.
Mm,
For them, that was really taboo. It was really different. And it was really difficult for me to bring that out in the place that I lived. And now I do see here, now that I'm back in the US and back in Miami, that there are a lot of women's circles now. And I'm like, now I really don't need to step into that role because there are so many. I
mm,
don't really hold that space at the moment. And I can hold space in other ways. But I think it's really powerful and beautiful. I don't know if they're going into the cycles yet. Like I haven't
mm,
I haven't seen any women's circles around here that are doing that. But I still feel like there's a lot of space being held for women,
mm,
and the cycles are something that I can bring in another way, like maybe
mm.
workshops or something, like bringing it to the community.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting as well. Like I don't know if it's just where I am on my path as well, and like moving different places and stuff. But it seems to me there's this acceleration as well
Mhm.
in this, yeah, like in women's circles and in the depth that people are starting to look at things and getting more attuned to stuff. And I do wonder if actually part of that is, the apocalypse, as I like to refer to it, of 2020, 21. If maybe that time that we spent sort of more isolated, if that actually is kind of
Mm.
help people just to kind of become more conscious, more aware also of the cycles, because everything slowed down. Everything
Mhm.
slowed right down, so people had that chance to be more connected with nature as well.
Yes, I agree with you there. I really do. I think, and I'm so happy to see that, to see that part of what was created from that time period,
Mm,
to see that people actually slowed down.
yeah.
And I think there was a lot of depression and anxiety, and there was a lot of that happened as well. But then on the flip side of that, there was a lot of people that really reconnected with family, reconnected with themselves, reconnected with nature, as you said. And I think in that aspect, that was a blessing from what was happening in the world at that time.
Mm, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I think there has been a lot of awakening
Yeah.
from that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking, like, I think about the title of this, like the Reconnected Voice journey, Reconnected Voice, and it really is. It's like this ancient voice, this
Hmm.
sense of connection with ourselves, with nature, with our loved ones, with with other women. or for the men, or whatever your gender, like just this general reconnection and sort of that deep seeking that we have, because
Hmm.
it's such an essential part of our nature.
It is. And I think, like reconnected voice for me is it's that, and it's like connecting to that sovereign, like our sovereignty,
Mm,
to access that ancient voice, like that is ours, and it's our ancestors, and it's the earth, and it's the galactic energies, and it's like really finding that channel within ourselves and really like honing that and being able to access then and open our voice chakra to be
mm,
able to explain and express and to stand in our sovereignty and to be able to say no,
mm,
able to say yes, which I think yes is really more common, but to be able to say no and stand in that and know what is yours and what is not and what is right for you, and
mm.
um, to be able to speak that. Excuse me. And I see, and I have seen a lot of people, especially in the past, I would say 5 months, that the voice chakra has been being activated.
Mm,
And people are coming and stepping up and saying, it's like, I really feel my voice is blocked and I need to open that. I'm ready to like access that and through singing or, whatever way that is, chanting, uh,
mm.
energy work. Yeah. But really opening that up so you can stand in your own sovereignty and be able to speak your
Yeah,
truth.
yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. As always, so many things coming up, as I listen to my speakers, there's all these like, yeah, thoughts like pooping, all these thoughts, yeah, just all these things going on. But yeah, it makes me think. So a couple of weeks ago, I did my Reconnected Voice workshop, and it was so interesting just flowing with intuition and just allowing it to unfold naturally, because it ended up being something completely different from what I, you know, kind of thought it might be. I guess I've been doing this work long enough now that I can really step into that intuitive flow.
Mm.
So I don't worry too much about the planning. But, I really think about, what you're saying about these past 5 months, just people sort of recognizing like that block in their voice chakra, the throat chakra, and realizing that need to open it up. And it was amazing. It was me and like these four courageous, powerful women who just started to open their voices and really, yeah, just making the sounds they needed to make. And it was great because we were just in the at Avebury, and there's like this little shop,
Beautiful.
the hen shop, and upstairs they do events. So we were there, so sort of downstairs, and then we were upstairs, and for sure they had us down in the shop, but howling and just making all of these sounds, and it was just really magical. And I just really recognize, like for myself, how much I need that, and how much we all need that. And there is something that's so primal, so ancient about stepping into that space with our voice, and coming together as well, back to circles, like as we were talking about before. It just, yeah. And I was getting goosebumps as you were talking about this, what reconnected voice is like for you, because like, it's yeah, just the truth of that. Like it resonates so deeply for me that, yeah, the ancestral connection is what connecting with everything. That's what the voice is, right? And
Yeah,
it's the bridge. It's the bridge that brings what's inside outside and creates worlds, right?
it does. It's yeah, it's a spell. It's a
Mm,
I mean, our voice, our words are so powerful and so important. And I think that's, it's opening that, but what's coming to me is like that also has to be connected with the heart.
for sure.
And because that is the true like access of the meeting point of everything, and being able to access our voice, but like really having that connected to our heart and having our heart be open. Like
Mm,
there's we close off and we build walls, and like the heart is probably one of the most protected that we have. But being able to live from an open heart, it's not easy. It's really not easy. And but the voice is an important tool for being able to express
Mm.
from, especially from the heart, um, on every level, whether it's on a worldly level or a personal level or to spirit. It's like everything to nature, that connection to it all has to do with being able to connect with, yes, the throat and the heart. And then
Mm.
it goes down, but it goes to every other place in the body.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, love that. So, yeah, I would love to kind of sort of deepen into this now, like with the reconnected voice. And so I'm really curious what you're going to share here, because obviously I know some of your stories from the past, the past several years. But yeah, I'm really curious what you would like to share with us, like with the listeners, like with the reconnected voice. So maybe a moment in time when you felt that disconnection from your voice, and then the journey that you've taken to reconnect and to really reclaim and step into your voice again.
Oh yeah. Let's see. There are quite a few. Um, so I know I shared this before, and I think that this is something that is it's really quite powerful, because I think so many women go through it. And that's why I'll share this one, is that I have experienced abuse in the past, and from relationships, and being able to access, like, to do the healing work. Like, because when you experience abuse, it like shuts you down, and it has an effect on our nervous system. And unless we go into the body and do the work, we can intellectualize it, yes. But unless we go into the body and do the work, it really shuts us down, and it doesn't it stops us from really being able to access our true voice. Um, and so being able to work through that and heal that and feel now in my life more empowered, more certain, more clear, more aligned than I ever have before. To me, that's reconnecting with that inner voice, being able to express, being able to even speak about it.
Mm.
Like, to be able to even speak about abuse is really difficult. And there were many years when I couldn't share. Like, there are a lot of stories that I never told. So being able to even just express that, as a woman or a man, like, I know men who have been in abusive relationships that don't speak up, they don't share, they hold everything in, and that blocks the voice, that blocks your truth. And being able to open up and share that in a safe way, do the work, really go into the body and heal that, and reconnect with your truth, which is your voice. Yeah, I think that has probably been one of the most powerful and um, life-changing things that I've gone through. And because
Mm.
I've gone through a lot, but that in itself was probably it.
Yeah.
Reconnect my voice after that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that and just really honoring you in, yeah, that progression to actually be able to speak about it.
Yeah.
Because I think, this is one of the biggest like issues, I guess, that we have with the voice and as humans, is that so often we have these stories, and for every person we've got a different story, whether it's abuse or losing somebody or depression or any number of things that we kind of, we carry these stories alone,
Yes.
and they're so difficult to share about. But it is so empowering to get to that stage where you can talk about it. And I think there's so much healing within that as well, to actually be able to speak up about it. And I'm sure, like, this is medicine for women out there who at this time are experiencing abuse, or who have in the past experienced it, whether they've managed to speak up about it already or not. I think, just hearing this is
Yes.
medicine in itself. And to know that it is safe to talk about it. It is safe to have that conversation, and to speak up about it. And um and it's not that we need to sit in this space of blame and projection and stuff, but just really owning what we've experienced, and moving through that, and taking responsibility for the healing part. Because the other person, like with abuse, or whatever
Yes.
it is, like, the other person only has power over you as long as you allow them to.
Yes.
So the moment that you really take ownership of all the stuff that you're going through, it's reclaiming yourself. It's really reclaiming your power in that. And I think it's just so powerful. So thank you for sharing that.
It is. And I think that brings us back to the women's circles, right? Is that having
Mm.
that space. And I'm glad that kind of we started on that, which I know it wasn't expected, but having that space um, to be able to be witnessed and be heard and be loved and accepted and received, like your story is important. And I think that brings us back to that because it's like that space holds that.
Mm. Mm. So could you maybe share, like, in more detail, like, some of the practices that you've used, or so people can hear, okay, like, what are they? How can I go and find out more about these? Because I guess this
Yeah,
also ties in with your work as well. So I'd
it
like to
does.
go more in depth into your work as well, but it'd be lovely to hear, like, for you personally, like, what you've been doing and how it's been.
Yes. So I spent I'm just I'm just glad that I had the work that I did to be able to dive into that and to work on myself. I did spend a lot of time in nature because nature helps to calm our nervous system. It helps to regulate our nervous system. So that is one thing that I highly recommend. And I practice something that's called sacred female yoga. I was certified in it. That's something that um, I use with clients. It's more than just yoga. It's not, and it's really hard to call it a yoga, but it is. It's more somatic.
Mm.
It's movements that's made for a woman's body, for a woman's nervous system, and it helps to unlock and release things, emotions that are stored inside the body in a way that's more of a recapitulation. That's more of a like you don't really need to go into the story, but it removes it from the memories, from the memories inside your body. Um, so I did that. And I remember one time I was doing this practice and I literally felt like a chain that had been wrapped around my neck had been like energetically broken and let go. Like I could feel it. Like, and that's the power of this type of movement, this type of yoga. Like it's super powerful. It takes time to drop into because you're not used to going into the body in that way, but it is so beautiful. So I did do that. And then I did a lot of inner child shadow work and kind of what we call the sacred wound. I did that and I went back into, okay, where did this start? Like the first time in my life, like where did this begin to where I felt like, and I called in because we do. There's something inside of us, our empathy, our compassion, our wounding, whatever it is. Sometimes we open ourselves up to being able to attract this into our lives. And what is that? And how do I never attract that into my life again?
Mm.
I also took a year of celibacy and just focused on myself and my own healing. I spent hours journaling, working with my inner child, um, doing meditations and like tremor release, and just like there was so many different tools that I used, and pretty much all of the tools that I used to heal myself from all of this was it's what I put into a program that I call the metamorphosis.
Mhm.
Um, so as far as like that program goes, that is a program that is it's made for women, um, pretty much dealing with anything from loss of self-identity to having dealt with trauma to just not experiencing um, the kind of love that they want in life, like the relationships are struggling, like because it all gears back to like one thing, and then how do we work through that?
Mm.
Um, to like not knowing who they are anymore. There's a lot of women who are mothers or have been in relationships and are now no longer with that person. And it's like, who am I? Who am I now? And being able to go through different steps throughout the program to rediscover that joy, that passion, that pleasure in life again, and rediscover who you are. So, yeah, I think those those practices are they're practices that I did almost daily for a specific amount of time.
Mm. Yeah, that's so powerful. Like I know, like for me, nature is a huge healer.
It is.
Journaling, huge healer. I remember, yeah, I've experienced some of your work online. Like, it's really powerful, even that to the distance. Just there's so much power in it. This, really sinking into the body. And yeah, I mean, there's just so much gold in all of these practices that you're working with. And I think also it's so much power as well to share these with others when you've really, really not only embodied them, but had the experiences that make you have to embody them on a deeper level.
Mhm.
So I think that's the thing, we can do all these practices, but they're most powerful for working with others when we've actually been to some of those places ourselves, when we've had a dark night of the soul, if you want to call it that, or when we've experienced loss of some sort, if we've experienced abuse, grief, just any of those things or all of those things, when we've gone through all those different stages, being able to share that with others from that place of deep, deep understanding
Mhm.
of what it is, that's really, really powerful.
It is, and I've kind of like there's not much that I have not experienced. So, and I know that it's not for this. It's not so that I can share with everyone else. Like it wasn't for that, but it has given me the opportunity
Mm,
to, especially once having gone through the healing process, to deeply understand people and to not have judgment on where people have come from, or and just to have that empathy and compassion because I've probably experienced it, and just to that deep understanding and be able to be on this side of it and
mm,
just really feel empowered and in love with myself and in love with life. And for sure, there's things that I still want to create in my life. There's still things that like, I didn't have children. Like, is that something that I'm gonna, like miss one day? Probably, like I wish that I'd had that opportunity and I haven't yet anyway. But like there are definitely things that I would love to have in my life that I haven't yet created, but to be where I am and to know who I am and to know my own power as a woman and to be so in love with myself is really like it's such a great place to be. And
Mm.
having gone through all of that and to be in this place, it's like, wow. Yeah, I'm really, really grateful that I've had the tools that I've had and
Yeah.
the teachers that I've had to get me to this place.
Yeah. It's really fascinating, like for me, sort of observing from the outside. Like I see, because I've known you for this period of time, the different things you've been through, and just seeing like there's this continual transformation that you go through as well. Like, something doesn't work out the way that you hope that it would. Let's put it there very, very mildly. And how you take that and you alchemize it, and this new next version of self comes out from that. And so from someone externally, I'm sort of witnessing this, and it's this amazing reflection as well to realize sometimes we can't see it for ourselves. We
Thank you.
are continually, yeah, we are continually doing this, and I think it must be so powerful for women working with you to see that you're in this place now, and that you're continually transforming and upgrading. That's what we're here for, like this expansion, and to be able to, yeah, really share that with people on the path. And yeah, as you say, all of these experiences is not for that work, but I know for myself, whatever we go through, when we're able to transform that and to offer something to other people because of those experiences, it gives it even greater depth of meaning.
It does.
And I think that's just, it's so, so powerful. And I think we all have the capacity to do that. And I think that's the thing, like some people probably just look at it. And I know in the past I would have looked at it. It's just like, oh, well, that person, they can do that, but I can't do that. But actually, we all have that, whether we're working, with individual clients or with groups of people, or we're just sharing something with our friends or with our families, or we're taking that level of compassion that comes because of that, and just having a talk with a stranger, or seeing a homeless person and stopping and actually having a conversation with them, or whatever it is, we're able to actually bring these new layers and new levels of self. We can bring them out into our everyday lives.
Yes. Yes, we can. And thank you for saying that because they're like, and I will say this, like it's been very rare. Because but there have been a couple times in my life where having gone through so much, I was like, I don't like, I don't know how I can keep going through and keep rebuilding myself and keep like I'm just like exhausted from it. Um, and there have been a couple of times like that, few and far between, thank God. But to be to know that like yes, that I have actually continued and I went through it and I went to the other side. And it's just something that I even last week I was looking back and I was like, wow, like you have to be proud of yourself. Like you did it again. Like look where you are. Like, and I think that's important for us to see that in ourselves. And so I thank you for reflecting that back to me because it is important for us to acknowledge and see the strength we have as a human. And when we choose to move through that and go through that, and I know you have too,
Mm.
then being on the other side of that and looking back and actually like honoring yourself for that is huge and so important.
Yeah,
So important to do that.
for
Because
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, and I completely recognize that, having been places where, yeah, just this like, how do I keep going?
yeah,
How do I, like, I feel so damn tired of,
yes,
of finding myself in these places, and yet there is this fire within us that no matter how broken we feel, that does, like, there's something behind us that just keeps pushing us forward.
mm,
It's like it's not really a choice. Like we kind of have to make that choice, but at the same time, it's not a choice because it will kind of just keep keep
Yeah.
going. And I think, yeah, I think it's just so important for people to realize like we all have this immense, unbelievable amount of strength within us, far beyond what we can ever possibly imagine.
Mhm.
And I think also, sometimes these challenges in life, they come in order for us to recognize that and to recognize that next layer of strength. And there is always so much more. Like it's just continuous.
It is. And if you keep diving in and you keep looking at those places, and it's not easy, it's not fun, like always to look at those places. But when you do that, it opens up that space for more light, for more love, for more of your personal like power of your truth. And I think that's like maybe just a gift to the Scorpios that we have to continuously go through that. Like that's apparently like a part of our lesson in this life, but until a certain extent. And I've chosen that that is done for me. Like I don't need to keep going through that anymore in this lifetime. But like to alchemize it, like you said, but like the more that you can look at that, the more space it creates in your body. And it's the same with like the embodiment practices. And as I was saying, like the embodied movement and the yoga that I teach or whatever, the meditations, everything that I teach is about going into the body and opening up more space so that
Mm,
you can access that sovereignty, that truth, reconnect to your voice, like eh, really just love yourself more and open that space for more light. Like you feel lighter, like it feels lighter.
mm,
You feel happy. Like there's not a lot that gets to me anymore. There's really not. Like there's not a lot that sets me off. Like there's not like there's I'm just I'm just here and I can walk outside. And I think that's the beautiful part of like opening up that space in the body. And I'm sure for men it's very much the same. Maybe I don't know. I can't say because I'm not a man. But as a woman, like creating that space inside your body, like I go outside in nature and it's like, and it's how to explain, it's an energetic orgasm.
mm,
Sometimes it's like this heart orgasm. It's like this, it's not the same. It's not a sexual thing, but it's like this full body and like a kundalini awakening, like opening, like full body experience of connecting with, if you want to say God, spirit, the creator, nature, like it's the connection with that is just so beautiful.
mm,
And I didn't experience that until I started creating more space in my body. And yeah, it's really powerful work.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of mesmerized. Just kind of really feeling into what you're sharing. And yeah, so powerful, so beautiful. So thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that. So could you just kind of give it a little bit more like information now, like for people who are interested to work with you? What might that look like? Like what are your offerings and
Sure. Yes. So I have the metamorphosis, which I was speaking about. Um, and I think, yes, I think that that is for what I've shared today, that is a really beautiful program that I have. I also do VIP days, which is just a 1 day, and that can be online, that can be in person. But that's just 1 day dedicated to you and focused on what it like. We have a discovery call, kind of figuring out where you are, and then I create a day that's made for you. And if it's online, that would be, a few hours, a break, and a few more hours. Like it's set up to where we are together for the day. I take you through practices. We go through a lot of different things, and then we have a break in the middle. Um, I also have, and I'm really excited to, it's starting February 2nd of next year of 24, and it's called the initiation. And that is for women who are already on the path, who are wanting to step into being their heart-centered leader, like female leader in the world in whatever like whatever way that is for them, but specifically for this like the spiritual world. Like if you're a coach or you're a healer or a teacher or whatever that is for you, it doesn't really matter, but your heart-centered female leader. Because what it does is it helps you reconnect with the truth inside your body, to being able to open that channel and to step into that place from complete sovereignty. And that's a 3 month certification program, that everything that I teach, which is what I take women through in the metamorphosis, and those teachings that will help you not only understand it, but really integrate the teachings so that you can then take that out and use that in your own practice.
Mm.
And that's called the initiation. And it is a certification program. And it's a 90-day certification program. And I'm super excited about that one because I know how powerful this work is. And I
Mm.
want people to be able to access this more. And then let's see, and then I'm doing yearly retreats, and I'm opening those back up again, the Amara retreats for women.
Mm.
And those will be what I'm looking at twice a year. There'll be one in July, and that will be on my website soon. I'm working on putting that out there now, and one probably in January, not
Right.
this January, but the following
Mm.
January.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Nice. And do you know yet where they're going to be?
I'm looking at two different locations. I think one, probably the summer one in July, will be in Europe, and that will either be the UK. I'm looking at possibly Glastonbury
Mm.
or um, France, Italy.
Mm.
Like I'm playing around with which place I'm going to have those at, and I really need to make that decision soon. And then in the winter, it will be in Central America, either Mexico, Costa Rica, or Guatemala.
Nice. Cool. And
Yeah,
just come back to the oh, I forgot now what you called it, but the program you're starting in Feb.
the initiation.
Yes, there we go. So is that in person or is that online?
That's online.
Cool.
Yeah, everything can be done online. And until December 11th, I
Mm.
am giving a huge discount on this program because yeah, it's over $1,000 off.
Wow.
Um, yeah, because it's going to be 22, and I'm giving it for 9.99.
Wow. Nice.
And the reason that I'm doing that is because I want as many women who feel called to be able to access this program, the certification program, um, because of where the world is right now. I really
Yeah.
feel like it's important. And so that's why I'm giving such a big deal
Yeah.
off that, as I really feel the importance of it.
Mm. Wow. Nice. Cool. So if listeners want to go find you, where can they find you?
Sure. They can find me at tamargail.com. That's TAMARGAIL.com. You can find all the information they need to know about me on there. The programs are on there, and the retreat will be on there soon. They can also find me on Instagram at Tamar Gail, the same spelling. And my email, if anyone wants to reach out, is tamar@tamargail.com. So,
Great. Cool.
yeah.
Thanks. So I'll pop all of those in the links as well. So before we wrap up, well, a couple of things. The first thing, do you have any extra words of wisdom? There's already been so many, but anything more that you'd like to add about, yeah, words of wisdom about reconnecting with your voice in whatever form that takes?
Yes. I think I do, because I think that what's coming to me right now is that we try, and how our society is set up is like do, go. Like, how much can we do in the world? How much can we create? And although that is amazing, and we need goals and we need that masculine energy to create what we're creating in the world, learning how to just be and sitting with yourself, right? And how does that feel? How does it feel inside your body? And just really bringing it back to center and learning how to just be in a moment and allowing that to create more presence in your life and that presence in your life. And that's something I'm really, really passionate about is being present with not only yourself, but the people in the world around you and in any moment. And that in itself, like, super powerful because it allows space for you to feel, for you to connect with yourself and with your inner voice, with your truth. And from there, you can be and do, you can do, sorry, and create and use that wisdom that you've gained from being to creating in the world and speaking, your truth through that because that space is so powerful. And I don't feel like we give enough time for that.
Mm.
And I can be guilty of it too. I can be so busy with what I'm doing that I don't allow enough time to just be. And I have to remind myself because I know the importance of it. It's what I teach. So,
Mm.
like, I also have to bring myself back, reel myself back in, and do that for myself too, as a reminder. Create those little pockets during the day to just be.
Thank you. Yeah, beautiful words of wisdom there. So before we wrap up, we talked before we came on about like there's a little meditation
Yeah, I
you'd
can
like to
do that.
share. So could we do that?
Sure.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
Mm. So if you just take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth and just let out any sigh, any sound that wants to be released. And closing your eyes. And relaxing your shoulders. Taking another inhale through your nose and allowing that breath to travel into just the back of your throat and down your spine. Just being aware and very present with the feeling of your breath. And as you exhale, allow that breath to travel back up your spine and through your mouth and just releasing. Inhaling through your nose and being very present with how that breath feels on the tip of your nose, the coolness, the slight, subtle sensation. And on your next inhale, breathing in through your nose and allowing that breath to travel down. How deep can you bring your breath? How deep can you bring your awareness? How far down into your body? And with every inhale, trying to go a little bit deeper with that breath, with your awareness, filling up your belly. And then on the exhale, allowing that breath to travel back up your spine and through your mouth. Inhaling, and can you drop that breath a little bit deeper? Can it reach the base of your spine? Can it reach your pelvis? And if it can't, that's okay. There's no judgment on yourself. It's just a practice of bringing your breath and your awareness deeper into your body. And if you can inhale and bring that breath all the way down into your pelvis, allow that breath inside your pelvis to expand and just take up space. Our pelvis is considered to be our feminine brain, whereas our skull is the masculine brain in the Celtic shamanic traditions. It holds a lot of information, it holds a lot of memories, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. We hold a lot in our pelvis as women, and our pelvis is connected to our voice. Bringing your breath down as low as you can go and allow it to circulate. Exhaling through your mouth, releasing any sound that needs to be released, and just knowing that any energy is being released with your breath as it travels back up through your body. The more you practice this, the more that's cleared and released, the more orgasmic and aliveness that you're going to feel inside your pelvis. So I invite you to come back to this meditation at any time. Make it a daily 5-minute practice. Take one more deep breath in and exhale. Placing your hands on your womb and just coming back into this present moment, staying connected to your body as we end this podcast and go throughout our day. I encourage you to just remain connected. And anytime you feel disconnected, bring your breath back into your body. Place your hands back on your womb space or your hara if you're a man, and just reconnect with yourself.
Thank you so much. That was just pure magic.
You spend more time doing it, it just that breath becomes really juicy. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I could really, really feel a really powerful energy at work there. Oh, well, that is a beautiful note to end this conversation on. So thank you again so much, Tamar. As always, a pleasure speaking with you. And yeah, for the listeners, then yeah, just do go and check out all of Tamar's offers. Yeah, well, if you've taken the time to sit with that meditation, I think you'll get the tiniest glimmer of a feeling for how powerful her work is.
Thank you so much, sister. It's so good to speak with you. And yes, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, with absolute pleasure. Thank you for listening to the Reconnected Voice Journey podcast with me, your host, Francesca J. Littman. If you'd like to learn more about my work and how I can support you in building a more loving and empowered relationship with your voice, check out my personalised one-to-one Reconnected Voice Journey program options on my website, www.francescajlittman.com. You can also connect with me on social media. On Facebook, you'll find me as Francesca J. Littman, and you can also join my private Reconnected Voice Journey group. And on Instagram, you'll find me as Reconnected Woman. Tune in next time for more Reconnected Voice inspiration. Reconnected Voice Journey podcast. Your voice is your medicine.